Hey there, legend. My name is Pete Shepherd, and I'm stopping by to share with you one really simple question that you can use to set your day up for success, to set your teams up for success, so that you can make the most of any given workday. It's a really simple question, and I want to get to it in 1 second, but first, a quick story. So, in March/April 2020, you remember that bizarre period where we went from all in person all the time to all remote all the time, where we went from commuting to an office in our best attire to walking to the laptop on the kitchen table in our track pants or sweatpants, depending on where in the world you are. And pretty quickly what happened to my calendar, which I know would have happened to many of you watching this video, is it started to look like something like 7 a.m. till 6 p.m. or 8 a.m. till 7 p.m. of back to back to back to back to back Zoom call or Teams calls or Google Hang or Google Meet calls. And I would just find myself pinging between link to link to link to link, teleconference to teleconference to teleconference. And pretty quickly, like I know many of you, got an incredible amount of fatigue. I was absolutely exhausted by the end of my days, and I could do nothing but literally lie on the carpet just like this. I used to call it a face down on the rug situation. I would text a friend and say, it's a face down on the rug situation. So that is not a good feeling. That is not something we want to replicate. That is not something I encourage anyone to do. Because what was really fascinating about having that experience is not only would I feel completely exhausted, completely fatigued, completely like I had way too many meetings, but I also had this strange sensation that I didn't actually do any work. That I felt like being on a Zoom call or being on a Teams call all the time actually took away from me being able to do my work, which isn't necessarily true in that a lot of my work is showing up on Zoom, just like I'm sure yours is showing up in meetings. However, there is a balance because we do have to create time for deep thinking. We do have to create time to respond to email or Slack or Teams. And I found that I wasn't getting time for this. And so I was completely sort of unsatisfied with a day of back to back to back to back to back, not to mention completely exhausted. So the question I pose to myself and the question I've been working with many clients to consider is really simple. And it's one I think that you can all consider. Clearly or simply, what does your ideal day look like? What does your ideal day look like? Does it look like 3 hours of meetings in the morning and then 5 hours of deep work in the afternoon? Maybe, depending on your role. Does it look like on a Tuesday, 5 hours of meetings and only 2 hours of sort of deepish work? Possibly. Entirely up to you, entirely up to your team to consider, what does your ideal day look like? Now, given the nature of the world and given many of you are heading into a hybrid way of working, which is sometimes in person, sometimes remote, what I think is worth doing is actually considering, what does an ideal day look like at home? What does an ideal day look like in the office? Because I suspect they're very different. Certain environments are better for certain work. Collaborating with people in person is often a lot more productive than done on a Zoom call, for example. Deep work, I think we've all found, can be a lot more productive at home when there's no distractions than in an office where there's people everywhere. So just really clearly, really intentionally thinking through this question, what does my ideal day look like, can help set us up for success and avoid the face down on the floor situation. This guy is not what we want to be. Instead, by thinking more intentionally, by thinking more proactively, we can create a day where we finish maybe something like this. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you have an awesome rest of your week.